Okay, we're going to create a menu screen now for our very simple game. To do this, I will split this video into 3 different segments. So the first one, we need to make sure that we have saved our scene. You need to make sure that you've saved it as a particular name. So I saved this one as video test. Save. And we are now going to go to File and New Scene. We do not want to go to New Project. We're keeping everything in the same project. So I'm going to open up a new scene. And as you can see here, if I go back to my assets and I scroll down, you'll be able to see my video test. That is the game that I just created. So you need to know that that's still going to be there. So with my main camera and an empty scene, I'm going to start building a menu using UI objects. How we do this is we're going to build some canvases with some text on and some buttons, and then we're going to be coding it in C# in Visual Studio. So firstly, I'm going to go up to my game object and I'm going to go down to UI object and I'm going to create my first canvas. This canvas here I'm going to rename, and I'm just going to call this one main canvas because we will have 2 different options. So I've got my main camera, my main canvas, and this event system just pops up as soon as you actually bring in a canvas. So don't worry about that at all, we'll leave it in there. So with my main canvas selected, if I double click on it in the scene, you can see that it's sitting right here. I'm just going to scroll around so we can kind of see. I think I'm on the right area for it, and I'm going to just zoom in. So it's just like a blank frame, and we're going to put some objects within that frame. So with my main canvas, I'm going to right click, and this gives me all of the options that I had up in my game object selection here, and I'm going to go down to UI item, and I'm going to bring in some text. Now this text you can see here just in my game scene just says new text right now. I'm going to edit it over in my inspector window and I'm going to call it main menu. I can play around with the parameters here. I can change my font size. What I also want to make sure to do, if you just notice that when it was on 14 it's sitting nicely there, and as soon as I changed it to 34 it disappeared. So how we can fix that is just scroll down a little bit and you'll see a parameter called horizontal overflow and vertical overflow. We're going to change this to overflow here, so then the overflow will sit nicely within the scene. I'm just going to drag this up to the top, and if you do not have this selection right now, you just needed to make sure that you have the W selected. So if I didn't have anything, I press W on my keyboard and then I can drag up my main menu to where I would like it to sit. The next thing that we are going to do is to create some buttons. So once again, with my main canvas selected, I'm going to right click, go down to UI, and I'm going to bring in a button. Now my button will automatically come up as a white with some text on it. I can change any of the colors here. I can play around with all that, but just for the moment, I'm just going to keep it simple and you guys can organize how you want it to look later on. If I drop down the menu with the button, you'll see that there's one there called text, and I'm going to change this text to play. And I'm also going to keep everything nicely named in my hierarchy because I'm going to have a few different buttons. I'm going to call this button in my hierarchy play as well. Alright, so I have a main menu, I have a play button. I also want to create a canvas for options. So the options might have how to turn sound up or down. You might have a graphics, how high the resolution is. You might have some options with instructions in there, whatever you like. So we need to create a button to get to this canvas. So I'm just going to duplicate this button. I'm going to rename the second button to options. And I also need to make sure that I rename that text because currently we just have 2 play buttons. So I'm going to rename that to options. Now you cannot see the button over here at the moment because those 2 buttons are layered on top of each other. So if I was to move, I'm just on my text layer, that's why it's just moving the text. If I actually click on the button, I can just position it up above the other one there.